fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got everything outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up there!
Oh my god! Oh. Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly.
Oh, there we go!
Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
It's time to look forward to next year and get the 2020 season underway. Season 1 of the official Supercar series is in full swing, and what a first week it has been. Every single race has gone official, and the reason, the brand new Ford GT Mustang and Holden ZB Commodore Supercars have been introduced to the iRacing service, and they are proving to be very popular indeed. The first Monday night strength of field of the season is live, as always, on the iRacing Esports Network, presented, of course, by SimSpeed TV. My name is Ryan Jones. I'm joined by Jake Sperry up here in the comments box, and the man behind the scenes is Jay Kennedy. So let's go down and take a look at the track for today. Jake, talk us through the Road America circuit.
Well, we saw Road America yesterday be an absolutely fantastic place to battle. 6.5 kilometers. It's a 4-mile track. There's 600 meters turn 1 in a clockwise formation here at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin. Opened in 1955, it's a fantastic, quick battling track where you can go side by side for upwards of 10, 11, 12 corners. You can go side by side for the whole lap if you're brave enough. Bigger overtaking opportunities. Turn 1 has seemed to be prime when we looked at it. Turn 5, always the best place, but if you can't get it done there, turn 12 might just be your final chance to go out there and get a move. You've got to be a brave driver around here today at Road America, and these drivers know in official sprint format, they've got to be right on it from minute 1.
They certainly do, and it's a new season, of course, so all points are thrown out the window for now. And we'll just quickly have a look at the points from the end of Season 4. We talked about this a lot in the last couple of broadcasts. It was, in the end, James Scott that came out on top by a mere 15 points from Forza and El Navi. It's a pretty close championship, that one, Jake. And, well, with all these new drivers, or a lot of drivers looking forward to the new season, do you see that continuing, or you reckon we're going to have some new faces up there challenging for the championship?
The one thing you have to remember at this point is that all of the championships that have gone on at the moment, they have changed, as we see Kazuki Umeshima, the Japanese driver, up at the top of the timing stands on a 204.476 at the moment. The big thing to remember is there are going to be drivers doing this who need to learn this car. And there will be drivers out there, for example, at the moment in this field, like Andrew Gilliam, Jackson Susan Harlow, who don't necessarily race this official series all the time, but want this ability to learn the car before a brand new season comes up of league racing. There's an E-Series that will be coming up, which will be so crucial for the drivers to get right, as Harley Haber goes to the top of the timing stands, 204.3 for Mark 1. This is going to be a really, really interesting season. This will show where the form book is going into 2020 and who to keep an eye out on, because it is surprising at the moment to see James Scott down in 7th place.
Yeah, it certainly is, and let's see if Kazuki Umeshima can go back to the top. He can't, he stays second. It's going to be interesting. We got it's of course this time slot very favoured to the Australians, so everyone in this split is an Australian or New Zealand driver, bar one, that is the number 1 driver in the room, Kazuki Umeshima, that we've already talked about. Harley Haber. This is how sacked the strength fighters. 4,100 is the average iRating for drivers in this session. Harley Haver almost missed out, Jake. He's 28th ranked driver in this room. It's absolutely crazy, but such is the competitiveness and closeness. He's the driver currently sat on pole.
He certainly is, and all these drivers know that sometimes that big number against your vehicle doesn't mean as much. This is Zach Hanlin making his way in the Logitech G Altus Esports Ford Mustang through the final corner. Very nice and careful on the curb at the moment. 2:05.5 is best at the moment as he makes the climb up the hill to the line in closed qualifying conditions. And does he find himself the improvement that he needs? Yes, he does. He moves up onto the 7th row alongside Brian Borg. That's not bad from Zach Hanlin there, as he will look to try and get a little bit of a better performance than what he had last night. Matt Morris only going 25th.
Yes, certainly another car. Well, this is Harley Haber, in fact, and he has not done his second lap, so this is his second lap in qualifying. Doesn't need to improve. Might want to improve. There's just 10 seconds left on the clock. He might just about get across the line. But I don't think it's going to matter because Harley Haver is going to be the man starting on pole position for Mach 1 Esports. Does get across the line, doesn't improve. Let's go through the grid for today's race before they get underway. Harley Haver, Mach 1, they start from pole position outside of the front row. Kazuki Umishima for Radicals Racing. James Mackay and Cooper Webster for Pursuit Sim Racing and Evolution Racing team lineup in 3rd and 4th. And it's Jackson Harlow for Altus Esports in 5th and Andrew Gilliam 6th. Jordan Ross and Wayne Burke, 7th and 8th, and top 10, rounded out by James Scott and Danny Davison.
You look further back to the 6th row, Glenn Postlethwaite alongside Brady Myers. Surprised to see Brady Myers so far down the order here in qualifying. Zach Hanlin will be alongside Brian Borg, as we said earlier. Gert Stenberg will go from the 8th row. Alongside him is Hobo 88 going from 16th, Brenton Hobson. Sam Sutton, the military man, alongside Sean Thompson, with Corey Preston 19th, and Thomas Hinz starts in 20th.
Last few drivers in the field, 21st. Chris Coxhead, and then Brad Newman, 22nd, Damien Johnstone and Scott Sazowski on the top row of the grid, Matt Morris and Christian Smart behind them, and rounding out the field, Steve Anderson, Greg Sharp, and the only driver not to set a time was Sam Devontier. So here we go. The first strength of field of Season 1 is a big run down to Turn 1. The new time model has been brought to these cars as well, so they're going to have colder tyres to contend with. I think you have to be a little bit tentative down there. You need to get that launch off the line right, because if you don't, you're going to lose a lot by the time you get down onto the brakes. And now it's an anticipation waiting game, because they have about 2 minutes to grid up. They've got about 20 seconds left of that. Unless everyone grids up early, they've got to think about their line, think about how much throttle. The revs rise. The green flag flies, and we're racing here at Road America, and it's a pretty even start from the top 3. A couple of slow movers at the back and a crash at the back of the field as multiple cars have stalled and someone's gone around, but at the front, it is still Harley Haver that leads them, and he's going to lead them through Turn 1. He leads Mishima, and going around is one of the mid-pack runners. Goes around by himself, though, as they all try to make their way through. That was Andrew Gilliam that went off all by himself on those cold tyres. But it looks like the rest of the field has got through pretty cleanly, as there's a spinner there through turn number 2. And down this long straight they go, and Umishima's trying to come back at Haber around the outside.
He certainly is. It was Brian Borg who was the spinner, and look at this. Umishima trying to attack hard here at turn 5. You can run it side by side, but that's some great driving there. Using it all in 4th position. There's a spinner again, and that was not the plan. Cold tyres for Cooper Webster. Young Cooper Webster not helping him in the format, and that will really hurt in terms of his run. It's going to be the 1,000,000-point turn as he gets himself Austin Powers his way back through, but a very strong start as vehicles run wide through turn 7 as well. That was Kurt Stenberg under pressure. Wayne Burke, now they're 3 wide into the right-handers there, side by side as well. The 3rd position as well. Turned around. That was a big incident in front of Jordan Ross and right in front of the racing line as well. Jackson Susan Harlow, JSH, turned around for Altus.
And that was a very awkward and clumsy crash, that one. James Mackay, the other party, involved to get that one started. Harlow went down to the inside here, just hip checked James Mackay a bit. Ross got into the back of Mackay, and that's pushed him in to the right rear quarter panel of Jackson Harlow. And very unfortunate indeed. They're side by side for the lead of the race once again. Umashima's off into the gravel. He's into the tyre bundle there on the outside of the corner, and that's given the lead to Harley Haber. And Umashima's going to go back a long way. He's back in front of James Scott now. In 8th place is Umashima, and these cold tyres are catching up absolutely everyone out there, Jay.
Well, it wasn't the fact that it was cold tyres for Kazuki. He was on the outside, and suddenly he found there was no room left at the in given by Harley Haber, and all of a sudden he's got no run up the hill, and the draft helps James Scott on the recovery here, trying to get up through. He's up 2 positions already, and this is looking to be +3 as he gets down on the brakes into turn number 1. Very difficult to get it done at 1. You've got to now hold it all the way to 3 and get it done, but Kazuki Umashima will not be happy at the fact that he was not given much room by Harley Haber. Haber knows how to race these vehicles. He does leave a little less room compared to other drivers. When you're in official, you're less likely to know what the other driver's going to do. Some big gainers already. Postlethwaite's up to 4th. Myers up to 5th.
Indeed, and this is tight here. Scott tries to jink it to the inside. Almost made contact with Wayne Burke, who had to just jump out of the throttle there. Isn't able to get by Umashima at the end, but a great run there. And now he gets back to the inside of Umashima. And this is a very tricky corner, this one. He doesn't make contact. Scott's very experienced on these cars. Knows how to race side by side, doing a fantastic job of it. And Umashima doing a great defensive effort here to keep James Scott behind him. And Wayne Burke thinks about a move to the inside. Scott having to fend him off too. And a bit of a train now starting to form behind this battle for 8th place. Almost the rest of the field stacked up behind them.
Well, they know they've got about 3 laps worth of margin. Once they hit lap 3, the tyres start to find their rhythm, and you start to see less and less mistakes. It gets to see where the true pace lies in a field like this, which is going to be really good for someone like Harley Haber at the front of the field. He already got a 2.5 seconds on the opening lap ahead of James Mackay, but the ultimate trouble will be where the moves will come in the next section. Someone looking to make a move is Chris Coxhead on the brakes behind Danny Davison. They're in the number 12 car, not close enough yet to make a move, but look at the train that's forming behind Scott and Burke, who's got Stenberg, Davison, Coxhead, Hinds, Thompson in there, Newman, Sutton, Sislowski, you got Hanlon, and then Matt Morris and Christian Smart trying to stay desperately on the back of this as well. This is the big scrap from about 19th place up to 7th, 12 cars, and we say this is a draft track here, Ryan. This is where the draft becomes so vital and drivers looking to try and get themselves into position to go out to attack to make moves.
Indeed it is, and you can see a couple of cars thinking about it. That was Wayne Burke thinking about a move on James Scott, who has that car hanging out sideways in the exit of turn 1. A lot of attitude in these cars, a lot of talk has been had about how these cars handle. Are they realistic? Are they accurate? Is it better than the 2014 cars? I think the general consensus, Jake, is they are better. But I think there's a possibility of changes continuing to be made. There's already been 1 change made post-introduction. And come next week, we may see a completely different handling model to these cars. And it could change it up again as there's a whole pack of cars now making contact. Coxhead there and Thomas Hinds going bumper to bumper, front to nose through turn 5. And now they make their way through the tight and twisty part of this circuit. No, not too many spots to make an overtake here.
No, there isn't, and every car seems to have a patch. I've seen cars still have development up 5-6 years after having changes. It's no shocks to me as they stay side by side through turn 8, as that's Matt Morris having to deal, trying to get through Zach Hanlon. Not quite working, but every car has a development cycle, and it's not too dissimilar to what you see in the real world where there'll be regulation changes and things like that. It's the same here when you get to iRacing. Vehicles will change from time to time. There'll be things in the setup that are exploited, which maybe shouldn't be. There are always going to be ways drivers push the boat out to be faster. So you look at maybe a vehicle like this, yeah, it is going to be different from when it was first released. It is going to be different from, say, 3 months from now. But you have to also understand that you drive this vehicle as a project, and drivers who are coming into the iRacing service, this is a more popular vehicle, and numbers are generally up across the board for this style of driving. I think people are liking this vehicle, wanting to get involved, and it is showing through all the major series that you can get in these Australian touring cars.
Yeah, well, this week has been the first week in many years that every race has gone official. Let's have a look, though, as Davison slipstreams and slingshots by Kurt Stenberg. Not much Stenberg can do, but try to be brave around the outside at turn 1. He can't do it, and now coming through as well as Chris Coxhead, and not a great sequence of events there for Stenberg. He's going to try to go around the outside here and maybe tuck back in behind Coxhead, which he does. And now Thomas Hinz is the next car lined up, and he's got to run as well on Kurt Stenberg, the number 17, going backwards here. He's got the inside, though, finally, for turn number 4, turn 5, sorry, as they go side by side, and Stenberg's very late on the brakes, trying to get it stopped, does get it stopped, and hasn't quite cleared Coxhead, or Hinz. Luckily, Hinz did back out of it, and who's that? Trying to start up the inside behind them. Sean Thompson was trying to fend off Sam Sutton, who will lose out as a result to Brad Newman.
Yeah, and that's Brad Newman very well in that position. Stenberg lost that time just by the tap at turn 1 and got freight trained. And look at this, Sutton trying to come back down on the inside, and he gets the move done. It's on for 4th and 5th, though, as we see on cameras at the moment, because keep an eye on Brady Myers on the back of Glenn Postlethwaite in the number 20 car. Posy has been very, very consistent over the first week of these developments. Has been very nice through week 13, but ultimately Brady Myers has had a lot of time, a lot of experience around this Road America track. In Scots, he had to come through Split 2 to win that race, to get himself into Split 1's racing, and then he got a 5th place finish out of all of that as well. It was a fantastic night of racing for Brady Myers, a win and a 5th. So now Brady's thinking, well, can I top off my week with a Monday night official and get myself up into 4th, maybe even 3rd? He's got a good run here coming off this section, but Postlethwaite already defending as we get a replay. It looks like it's Greg Sharp then who's had this issue on the brakes down the inside here at the Canada corner, and ultimately he has been freight trained for 2 positions then, as he was just left on the outside to hang out there like yesterday's washing there, Ryan.
Yeah, indeed, very unfortunate there for Greg Sharp. He's a very experienced driver and talented driver too, so I'm sure he'll bounce back from that one. As here we go. Brady Myers is firmly in the slipstream here of Glenn Postlethwaite on the approach down at turn 5. He is going to look down to the inside now, and he should be able to make this move stick, unless Postlethwaite is extremely brave around the outside. He's trying to stay there, and he will stay there. Great job from Postlethwaite. Can he clear Myers on the inside of there on the approach to turn 6? He can't quite do it. Myers just has a car's width to work with. And now on turn 7, Myers is on the wrong side of the track, but he almost gives a shot to the left rear of Postlethwaite's car, doing everything he can to try and get by the number 20, and now fakes him out, goes down to the inside for turn 8. A little bit of contact is made. Postlethwaite's going to lose out too to Umeshima, and James Scott wants a piece of it too. Wisely backs out of it, but that is a little bit unfortunate there for Ben Postlethwaite.
He didn't want a little piece of it, he wanted a lot. That was a brave dive from Brady Myers, and they were holding each other up a bit, because all of a sudden there is Kazuki Gun. Kazuki Umeshima Radicals Online has been a stalwart for them for a number of years. And look at that, there's no room on that inside line. He looks left, he looks right, he looks centre. And he gets it wrong. Couldn't slow it up on the brakes. Brady Myers ends up taking a trip to the gravel for it. And Brady was defending hard. Kazuki was looking everywhere. And ultimately, it was Sebastian Vettel, Max Verstappen at Silverstone this year. It was very much, I ran out of road to brake.
Indeed, and Myers has lost a lot of time from that. You can see Umeshima just outbraked himself, and he made the corner, but unfortunately it was courtesy of the back of Brady Myers' car slowing him down, and no grip out there on the gravel. Myers straight through to the very edge of the gravel trap, and now Umeshima's under pressure as by goes Glenn Postlethwaite down to the inside. Umeshima tried to cover but couldn't quite do enough, and Postlethwaite moves back up into P5. James Scott wants a piece of it. Postlethwaite, Umeshima trying to cover, and he can cover him off, but he's going to have the slipstream down this back straight. In fact, Umeshima's got the run now, and this is a great little battle, this one, Jake. Some varying levels of experience and speed in this one. It looks like the guys at the back have the most pace, but the slipstream's helping out Umeshima right now, and they're 2x2 on the approach to turn 5. Who comes out of this one in front? It's going to be Postlethwaite. Umeshima gets the hip check out, saves it, doesn't hit Scott and Burke on the rejoin, and they go by him, and Umeshima now is the final driver in this train.
This is the issue with turn 5. It's a corner which does tighten up ever so slightly, and on that exit curb, you are not supposedly, if you look at the racing lines being defined by the white lines, you don't actually have to give someone room who's stuck on that outside. Drivers on the outside think that they are allowed that, as there's a huge battle pack going through. As that Stenberg getting turned through the right, and that was never going to be easy for him in the Trans-Tasman guide. Does a nice Romain Grosjean 360 to get back to pace in 21st, 22nd. Motum simulation replay on screen of that one. But turn 5, a corner which really isn't that helpful in terms of being stuck on the outside. We'll get a look at this as he goes through here, does Kurt Stenberg. He's stuck on the outside. There's Thomas Hinz down the inside, and I think Stenberg, it was a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. You can't apportion blame for that sort of incident.
No, it's tough on the call there, but certainly not what we like to see. Another mistake out there has cost Kurt Stenberg quite a bit, and that all stems from his mistakes there on, where he lost a few positions. Christian Smart has made a mistake there, and he is Kurt Stenberg around the outside. That looks very awkward there, Che.
Yeah, it does look awkward. There's contact behind. There's Smart having to deal with Sam Devontier, and then having no power up the hill. There goes through Brady Myers on the comeback. Here's Greg Sharp in the Stealth Sinforce car, looking to go around the outside as well. So Christian Smart takes the better part of Valor, loses the positions. Brady will try and come back here at Devontier, as we do have another vehicle off in the gravel right now, and it is Kazuki Umeshima in the number 1 car. So that is at turn 1. That's not the place you want to have an incident, and that has happened very quickly. Got himself a blown engine coming into turn 1. So easy to do in these vehicles.
Yeah, it certainly is. You bang down the gears, and it happened very late in the braking zone for Umeshima there, which is quite strange. He was almost at the apex of the corner as it happened, or he was turning into the apex as it happened. It was his final gear change, and unfortunately, that is going to be him out of the race. And big shame for Umeshima, because he was having a good old battle there with James Scott, Postlethwaite, and co. But now the battle resumes, and Scott is having a look at Postlethwaite, who's got his mirror full right now of the defending Supercar Series champion, Wayne Burke. 2 is just sitting back and watching how this one unfolds as they go through the kink, one of the scariest corners on the circuit. No room for error, because there's a concrete wall on the left, a concrete wall on the right. If you get that crash, you will most likely spin out and hit the wall, and it's definitely not overtaking the spot. We've seen a few people try it, but 9 times out of 10, you try a move there, and it ends in disaster. Sometimes it ends in disaster even if you don't try to make a move.
Sometimes it does, and that is the street circuit apportioned feel of the track. It widens out through most of it, but of course you've got Forest to the left, Forest to the right, heading through the kettle bottoms. It's so easy to get lost and transcended, but a good run from James Scott. Again, Glenn Postlethwaite, there's no Supercars ruling here of you can't defend this one as such until the later stage of the lap. You can defend as much as you like, and look at Scott here. He's trying to go for a gap that doesn't exist. He goes for it, but ultimately being pushed all the way to the pit wall. Podsy gives the room, but he's going to be too wide on the exit here, and thank you very much, Wayne Burke. You've got no chance of going through. Postlethwaite was wise to that, and around the outside, he's going to try and fight this one back again. No chance, and now this is where Wayne Burke's opportunity will come into play as he tries to go for a gap, which is Ryan Hunter race style. Not going to find it, because Postlethwaite's going to attack straight back.
And it gave Postlethwaite a shove and a burst of speed that's pushed him alongside and ahead of James Scott on the approach to turn 5. He looks for the crossover. Wayne Burke sticks his nose up there and prevents that from happening. And but I do not know how Wayne Burke did not end up in defence down that straightaway. Fantastic awareness to back out of that one, realising that Postlethwaite, that gap between the grass and Postlethwaite was closing very, very quickly indeed. This is the battle for 4th place, Mayra, mind you. Top 3 are all by themselves that front. It's a 3-second lead for Harley Haber over James Mackay and Jordan Ross, who are separated by about 0.7 of a second. It's 4 seconds back to this battle here for 4th of Scott Postlethwaite and Wayne Burke. Danny Davison running by himself in 7th. Chris Cox in 8th. Sean Thompson and Sam Sutton running out the top 10. And then the rest of the field all locked in battle all the way down the order as they make their way down this back straight again. And this is back in 16th place. Damian Johnstone and Brian Borg here. Just 2 tenths separating them, but they're at the back of quite a big train of cars. As you can see, in front is we're on board with Brian Borg. He's got a bit of a run here on Damian Johnstone, trying to go down to the inside at turn 12. Johnstone was very late on the brakes and Borg couldn't get it done. Great job there from Johnstone to hold him off there, but he might be in trouble come the slipstream and braking zone at the end of the main straightaway.
Brian Borg's just got to be patient here. He knows he's on lap 8 now, heading to lap 9 of 19. That's the halfway stage of this race, believe it or not. So that's going to be a case of Brian Borg. He's got to make sure that Johnstone stays within a second here. Can't afford to lose Matt Morris, Scott Zlowski, and the train, as we got ourselves Postlethwaite in all sorts of trouble. He's in the wall, and he's been turned around, and that's at turn 1. He was side by side with Scott going through, just gave him the hip check, and then Postlethwaite couldn't hold it, lost all the grip, and suddenly gets a turn from Wayne Burke. Postlethwaite's got it going again, but now he's behind Brady Myers, and now here comes Sam Devontier trying to get in on this as well. He's back into 19th place.
It's a big shame that the battles ended like that. It was a very innocent mid-corner piece of contact between Scott and Postlethwaite. Unfortunately, so easy to unsettle the rear on these cars, and nothing Postlethwaite could do. Nowhere Burke could go either to avoid hitting him as he spun. And now he's under all sorts of pressure from Sam Devontier and Kurt Stenberg all the way back in the outer reaches of the top 20, as Danny Davison is now in 5th place ahead of Wayne Burke. And we look back at this, Freddie Myers and Brendan Hobson, they're 17th and 18th. They're just in front of this little battle of Postlethwaite, Devontier and Stenberg. As have a look at this, Stenberg is trying every which way to get around Sam Devontier, looking for the crossover here, to the wrong side of the track. Probably too far back for a lunge up the inside of the carousel too. And it looks like Postlethwaite has finally just regathered his momentum and checked out from these two as well.
Well, he's needed to. He gets back on the horse and he rides off and gets a little bit of a gap, but Stenberg will want to try and come back as quickly as he possibly can here in terms of how this race is going to go. Devontier, though, will use the draft, and this is the issue. Postlethwaite is slow in a straight line after that instant, only hitting 253, and now has to defend hard after having half a second's worth of advantage. So it seems Devontier trying to go around the outside. Nope, sir, you're going to have to sit and wait, and Stenberg gets a freebie.
He does. I know Postlethwaite's down on power there, Jake, but I haven't had a chance to drive these cars yet, as unfortunately. I don't know if you have, though, but it feels like the slipstream with these new cars seems a bit more powerful than the old cars. Are you seeing that, or is that just me?
Well, let's just see just what the difference is, because it's 240 now for Glenn Postlethwaite, and the difference is almost 10 Ks difference for Kurt Stenberg. He's got 6 Ks advantage streaming on by him, so that is, I would say, a stronger draft in these style of vehicles as they go by, and that is a big hurt for Glenn Postlethwaite. It is similar when you're even keel, but I think that it's a little bit more different when you've got a bit more damage. It is on for second place, though, as Mackay and Jordan Ross look like they're going to battle it together. They're 3.3 off of the race lead. I think at this stage, unless you feel like you've got a whole world of pace underneath you, I think Harley may just be the driver who's safe, number 28, because Mackay and Ross, I don't think that they've got the pace to match here today. I think they may just have to settle for a fight for the podium.
Certainly, and they might have made a bit of contact already, these two, because Mackay is missing a crucial piece of the car, the rear wing. Well, he's driving a Mustang too, so it's a pretty big rear wing that he's missing. He was losing a lot of downforce, you would suspect, but it looks like he's got enough pace without it. And Jordan Ross,
yeah, and Jordan Ross in a very, very nice position at this point in time. He's showing just how good his battling is at this moment. So you've got James Mackay doing very well just to keep that gap, that momentum at around half a second. Yes, there is no rear to that vehicle at the moment, but that doesn't seem to be hurting him too much in terms of the way that this is running. Wayne Burke under pressure as well, because he's just lost the position to Chris Coxhead over this lap, and that is a second that has gone. The move done at Canada Corner down the inside. It was an easy move for Chris Coxhead, who seemingly is loving the race pace in these vehicles. He's up to 6th from 21st place on the grid. It seems that we've lost Ryan for a moment here, ladies and gentlemen, so we'll continue on racing. Chris Cox said, though, in that 6th place, we'll be very happy with where he is in terms of the run. 8th, 9th, and 10th place. You got Zach Hanlon in 10th, Sam Sutton there in 9th, Sean Thompson currently holding both of them back in 8th place. This has been a race of diminishing mistakes that we have seen out on this track, and that has been very, very crucial to keep in mind the longer that this race has gone. Jay, I'll bring you into the conversation for a bit, as we have lost Ryan Jones officially. We have seen, it seems that Sean Thompson here in 8th place, he's got to be a little bit cautious about the drivers behind. Sutton, no stranger to success. Zach Hanlon looking like he is a reinvigorated man after this new vehicle has come out.
Yeah, hello to you, Jake, and hello everyone. We saw Sean Thompson last season. He was the biggest improver. He and James Scott were the two main drivers that had improved out of sight from where they were. So Sean's learnt a lot, but as you said, Zach Hanlon reinvigorated. He lost a bit of love for these cars.
Sorry, I've just seen two big battles. They're going almost 2 wide, 3 wide behind them. So Newman, Hinz and Kozlowski came together. Behind them, there was Damian Johnstone struggling, and Myers trying to get around Brian Borg. It's 7 cars, in 2 battle packs, split by a couple of seconds. And look at Kozlowski trying to be aggressive, looking towards the kink. He couldn't quite find it, but there is the likes of Matt Morris trying to get in on the mix as well as they get up towards Canada.
This is a pretty awesome little battle here, and while we've just been watching that, and let's get my microphone set up, we've actually had a change of position for 2nd and 3rd. Jordan Ross is now ahead.
Yeah, that certainly has been a change of position. That one was done before Canada Corner. It was done a long time ago. It was done at turn 5, and that was just down the inside. Jordan Ross getting it, but it's cost him a further 1.4 seconds to Harley Haber at the front of the field for Mark 1. So nothing you can do, Jordan. I'm sure you have all the pace in the world, but you've got 7-8 laps now. Try and gain those positions back. It's all changed though. Look at Kozlowski all the way to the pit wall and back again, trying to have the fight, stuck on the inside line. This will allow Matt Morris to just open out the corner, but he was not in position. And the Brad Newman train, well, Jarno Trulli would be proud of that one. That is a very, very angry train behind.
It's a huge pack of cars now, isn't it? There's nearly 10 cars in this battle, but there is 10 cars in this battle pack now, and you include Hobson, that's pretty much in the draft as well. He makes 11, so this is going to be a really interesting fight. Hanlon as well, also, we were saying, he's looking reinvigorated. He said he wanted to get back in the cars, and after last night in V8 Scops, he's looking for a bit of redemption as well, because he had a lot of trouble. Matt Morris, though, there's 3 wide coming up the hill.
Oh, it's fantastic battling. Morris gets it done on Kozlowski, or does he, through turn 7? Always difficult to go too wide through here. No room. Careful. Morris on the grass, and he saves the tank. And look at Brady, ever the opportunist. Back down to the inside. Can he get it done? Got to be careful here. No, he gets a receipt. Myers gets a receipt through the section as they now head through the right. As they move up through, they've got to be careful of incidents. They've got 17 to go before they hit penalties. 25 for the DQ. And there is also Brian Borg through on Damian Johnstone. Hobbo wants to get in on this as well. This is a crazy battle here in officials.
What a fight this is. This is great to watch. And this is what we see each and every week, every Monday night here on SimSpeed. I think a lot of people forget how exciting the racing is on Monday nights, because we keep talking about V8 Scops and AOSC, and Monday Official has become one of the most exciting battles, one of the coolest groups of racing we've seen on iRacing in a long, long time. About that, Brady Myers absolutely bouncing it off the curb. He's lost all the momentum. Oh, no. And Matt Morris! Oh no, contact.
And that was not how you want to take the final corner. Myers left the door open, but that was all about they're just trying to stick a nose down the inside and trying to take the normal racing line. There was a very, very aggressive Matt Morris there. You never have a chance at that. Morris under pressure now. Brian Borg will want to wait
Jordan
through.
Ross. Sorry to cut you off there. Jordan Ross has lost a heap of ground. What's happened to him?
Oh, he's gone off at turn 3. So he's got it all wrong coming out of turn 3. So he heads through 3. He gets the curb on the inside. Tries to put the power down. Oh, he may have just got the slightest bit of grass out there on the outside curb. I'm going to have a different look at this to see exactly how he's done it. The vehicle does not look well spent. And it was just the case of on the curb. And he's only just clipped the grass. and he's in the he's then on the inside, now trying to recover it, and he's done very well to keep that out of the Ethan Grigott wall.
Yeah, good job from Jordan Ross to recover that, but he's lost a huge amount of time. He could even lose ground to his teammate in James Ross. James Scott. So I get their names combined there. James Scott's lap times are pretty impressive. Danny Davison, actually the fastest driver on track at the moment, and he's catching up to James Scott as well. So we could see 3 cars fighting for that last podium spot in the next few laps, 6 laps to go. It's going to be a pretty awesome finish.
You bet it is going to be awesome. It's still on, of course, 8th, 9th and 10th. Thompson, Sutton and Hanlin going at it then in the final 5 and a little bit laps to go here at Road America. And they all want to have a very strong showing, a very strong result as they go through the right-hander of Canada corner. Oh, nice slide there from Sean Thompson. He's just ragging on those rear tyres, and that is something to keep in mind, that with these style of vehicles as well, the rear tyres are the ones that will go first.
Exactly right. You've got to be really careful with the throttle. You've really got to dance on it and make sure you don't apply too much pressure too early, because if you do, light the tyres up and that absolutely ruins your momentum, ruins your run. That extra loss of grip, loss of traction. Hanlon with a bit of a run here on Sam Sutton, but won't quite be close enough to get it done. Danny Davison, last lap by, gained a tiny bit of time on James Ross, but gained a whole heap of time on Jordan Ross. So Jordan Ross, James Scott, Danny Davison, I think they'll come together with about 2.5 laps to go.
It's still going on in the bottom of the pack because you've got Johnstone, Borg and Morris all together.
Oh, no.
Where you going, Borgie? Hard to the inside on Matt Morris. He's got to be careful about how he battles on the back now. Brenton Hobson, and Brady Myers. It was a different Synergy Sim Racing car as they now make their way to turn 5. Morris has done well on the defence, and they fan Noah's Ark behind, looking for it. Myers on that inside has made a million overtakes today and has gone absolutely nowhere, and that will be the most frustrating part of Brady's day. He has shown he can overtake drivers. He just hasn't shown he can go through places. There's the hip check after the mistake from Morris, and that will push down Johnstone a position as he looks to battle it off, trying to hold off Brady Myers. Myers given room. Myers will be high on the instant count as well. We'll be hoping he doesn't get to 17 and a penalty.
Of course, change for this season. 17 used to be a DQ. It's now a drive-through penalty. So a little bit of a change there. So some drivers will possibly take advantage of that and try and force some incidents on their opponents and force them into a drive-through. Fingers crossed we don't see that happen, but great to see that we've finally got drive-through penalties and stop-and-go penalties for that sort of thing instead of the hard DQ straight away. It's a much better system and a great one, great addition to iRacing.
It is a much better system in the sense that you look at it and it's a little bit softer. It gives drivers more chances to race, more chances to finish. But surely the emphasis then and the what would have been said the hard disqualification, surely that makes life maybe a little bit more easier for drivers when it comes to the field. Of they don't have to be as worried about picking up instant points because they know that the penalty is going to be just that little bit less here, Jay.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's a better thing for drivers because it gives them a little bit more freedom to be a tiny bit more aggressive and, you know, sort of think about their moves a little bit more and maybe go for that 50-50 move, which is what we want to see, especially in V8 racing. You want to see drivers have a little bit of a lunge. Zach Hanlon through, that's a great move, but is he going to be able to finish? A little bit of grass, and Sam Sutton backs out of it. So good move there from Zach Hanlon, proving that he not just can commentate, he can actually drive these cars all right too.
Yeah, he certainly can. He was down the inside at turn 1, did very well on the outside. It looked like a crisscross was open for Sam Sutton, but it didn't work for the number 9 car, which is in 10th place now after that. Was up in 9th, but it doesn't work out for Sutton just then, but he's still got time to try and get that position back. At the moment, it doesn't look like it is working for the moment. Jordan Ross, though, has been caught by his teammate James Scott, and many are saying that Scott is the future of that Evolution Racing team. We had heard yesterday they're changing management. Jamie McKnight will be taking over from Brenton O'Brien at the team, so this is going to be a change of the guard moment. Jordan Ross, of course, Scott's Bathurst 1000 with Jared Filsell, arguably is the ultimate teammate. Is this going to be James Scott now soon becoming the ultimate teammate?
I think these two are the next generation for ERT. These are the guys that are going to be changing the guard. We've already seen both of these guys win championships. Jordan Ross with AOSC and James Scott, of course, official last season. So winning championships is what ERT does, and they're just continuing to do it in all different sorts of series, whether it be this car and in other cars. So it's great to see the newer drivers coming up through the ranks. Jordan Ross, of course, was a big talked about move from Synergy Sim Racing over to ERT at the start of the year. I think it's been a very, very positive move for him and the team as well.
Yeah, I think it's been a very strong move, a positive move, and they've done very well with what they've got on the table with just 4 laps to go here from the magical Road America. Scott just sitting and waiting, knows the car in front has damage on the front. So now what can Scott do? Picking up the line through turn 3 and now looking to be aggressive, looking to be on the noisy pedal, heading towards turn number 5. And this is going to be where the move is going to need to be made. It's the prime place to get it done through the Moraine sweep. And now you look at Scott picking up through the power, 265, 270. And it's very much going to be a case of, can Jordan Ross fight this? And he very clearly on the outside gives a whole heap of room. He gave an acre of space. And just like that, James Scott up onto the podium. And Jordan Ross, I don't think, would have had any qualms about it.
Of course, being teammates makes it a little bit easier to make that move as well. Know that it's not going to be fought too aggressive when you've got someone coming up behind that's clearly faster. James Scott's gained a lot of pace over the last few laps. The last lap by was the fastest car on track. Also saw a replay before. You see that Danny Davison has dropped off. He did make a mistake at Canada Corner and cost him around about 3 seconds. That's why he's not in this fight as well. Chris Coxhead also catching him as well. As you're noticing something out there? Probably this battle here.
Yeah, probably is that battle there. You're seeing Matt Morris is defending hard. Brady Myers has found a way through and he is checking out. And you've got to be a very, very accomplished driver if you want to try and fight in a battle pack like this. Morris and Borg and Johnstone and Hobson all going at it together as they head through the carousel once again. If you're Brent and Hobson, you're down 2. You're seeing this massive fighting in front. We know how Hobson loves to race in these races like these. He often puts these sorts of things on his YouTube. You're looking at this going, do I really want to get myself involved, cost myself incidents? As wide again goes Brian Borg. That may have just been another incident point that's come into play.
I think I don't think Hobbo would mind. I think he just enjoys the battle. I don't think he's cares if he's fighting for a win or fighting for 20th. As long as he's having a good fight, I think that's the thing that he enjoys. I mean, he loves winning, but I think often a hard-fought 15th is often better than a real basic easy win. I'm sure that if Harley Haber had someone to battle, he'd enjoy that a lot more than he is at the moment out with the 6.5 second lead. It's great to win, but having someone to fight and having a good race is more important, I think, as Borgie looks to make this move down the front straight.
Yep, and Brian Borg will try and get this move done around the outside. He will try and get this move sorted, but Morris is so much later on the brakes. Has he checked it up enough, though? Yes, but here's the up and under, and that is knitting one, purling one, and getting it done. That is a beautiful, beautiful move. And Brian Borg doesn't get it done, though, at 3. He outbrakes himself, and suddenly there's 2 more people wanting those overtakes and wanting them to be absolutely fantastic. As now, look at this, Damien Johnstone bump drafting down the straight to try and get the advantage over to Brenton Hobson. It works, but not for the reasons that he wants. Side by side they stay. This here, as we bring Ryan back into conversation, is the battle right at the back of the pack, and of course, I cede over to you. Well, it seems that Ryan still isn't here yet for the moment, but ultimately, some good battling. Still, Hobson able to hold it off with just a handful of laps to go. Look at Johnstone. Every which way you look, you're not going to find it by being so aggressive on those big weaving turns right there. So that really does show you just how close it is. Brad Newman under pressure as well here, Jay. You've got Scott Zizlowski here, 11th and 12th. They're going at it for late position changes.
There's still some great fights the whole way through the field as well, because Jordan Ross has dropped from James Scott and Danny Davison starting to catch back up to him. But yeah, Solowski, another driver that's had some huge moves, started in 24th position, passed half the field almost in this race so far, so he's doing a great job. He could find himself up potentially as high as P10 based on the pace of some of the other cars around, as we've got 2 laps to go. That'd be a huge, huge bit of movement for Scott Solowski at Trig Sim Sports as they start to get the handle on the new car.
And they've said that these Australian touring cars, these supercars, have been like a GT3 in some respects, so you have to drive that style, and if any team can drive that style, it is Trick Sim Sport. There is a reason why Wednesday nights are known sometimes unofficially as the Trick Sim Sport Championship. Round the outside, trying to get the move done, can't get it sorted. We've also seen over the last couple of laps, Wayne Burke's dropped behind both Hanlon and Thompson. That's them up into 7th and 8th place at the moment with just a handful to go. A couple of popsicle sticks, some may say, in the United States. And this is where these battles in the mid-pack are looking like they're heating up. Hobson under pressure from Brian Borg all of a sudden, as well as Kozlowski under pressure from Brad Newman.
And also just seen Jackson Susan Harlow and his recovery drive. Look how bad that car looks. The damage from that early incident. He and Glenn Postlethwaite have not made inroads anywhere near as much as Brady Myers has. Brady Myers is the fastest car out on track at the moment too. So Brady Myers still making inroads. That battle pack between Borg and Johnson, Hobson, that's just had another change of position. But the pack behind Brad Newman now has a couple of extra drivers in it too. So Solosky and Newman now have Thomas Hinz and Brady Myers for company too.
That's not helpful, especially when you know that Brady is very, very accomplished at making moves. You've got to be pretty much on it from minute 1 to minute last in these battle packs down the field, and one corner and one lap remains for the race leader, Harley Haber, number 28 in the field. The most divisive man in sim racing today leads this field in a dominant performance at this point in time. Thompson under pressure from Hanlon and Wayne Burke. You look back, here's Kozlowski to move down at Canada, and he searches, and oh, that's a block pass, blocked by a Maple Leaf. There was Brad Newman, and Hinsey immediately pounces in the Ratu car, trying to go to the inside at Bill Mitchell-Ben. Couldn't quite do it. Now Brady Myers will get an opportunity here at the final corner. Oh, that's a late lunge, trying to make that move sorted, and he's going to keep it too wide all the way up the hill. No run off the exit, no traction, and Hinsey will be wise to that. The battle pack behind. Borg and Johnstone stay where they are, but it is Brenton Hobson starting to pull away ever so slightly. Here comes Myers looking to the pit wall, looking back to the outside to try and make this move on Hinz. Hinz gave him a channel, but that channel was just slightly not wide enough. But look at that, around the outside. That is how you make a move if you are Brady Myers, who'd love to be in Brady's world, trying to get the move around the outside done. And that was exactly what had happened. Here comes Hanlon, though, on Sean Thompson for 7th position. On the brakes they go. Thompson is early on the brakes and will have to defend this around the inside of the corner. Does well enough and holds on to the position for the time being. Burke will come back up the hill, though. Try and get something back for one performance. That is one performance too far from that point. Kozlowski ahead now of Brad Newman and has got what he's wanted. But look who's behind. Brady Myers trying to get out there, trying to get aggressive, trying to find the magical move that gets it all done, nicely bundled in a neat little bow. And for the time being, it is not working the way it's wanted to. Johnstone has caught up to the back of Brenton Hobson. Everywhere you look, there is a battle towards the end of this race. One place you can't look away from, though, is number 28, Harley Haber for Mark 1. People have written him off so many times in his career, have said he's nothing but a flog, nothing but a driver who does not do anything more than make pretty overtakes and crash out. But this is where dominance personifies itself. Welcome to the future of your V8 division. This is Harley Haber's victory. Welcome to the big time at Victory Lane. James Mackay gets second. Scott will come home for a podium in third to try and defend his crown. And oh, that's way too deep there from Hanlon. He gets into contact with Thompson, and suddenly Wayne Burke, he's pinball thread the needle to get the position. Hanlon will redress the move as they go through, and suddenly there could be a steal here from Sam Sutton if he's not too careful, and Sutton is going to nick one over the line. So that was great tenacity by Sam Sutton, but Hanlon there for the second time in 2 days, a big incident in the final corner. And off that's Borg.
Yeah, Borg into the wall, the final corner. So something's happened there. We'll need to have another look at both of those incidents, because Hanlon, as you said, 2 mistakes at the same corner, 2 days, and he won't be happy about that, because he likes to race clean, he likes to race hard, but he'll be upset with a mistake like that, and tried to go up the inside, and so Thompson was maybe a tiny little bit naughty. He sort of moved across a little bit to cover that move off. I don't know, you can put that 100% on Hanlon, at least from that angle. see what's happened to Borg at the same time. I think he's just
on his own.
Yeah, he's just done it all on his own. Just hit the graphs. We've seen that numerous times yesterday and throughout the week. So unfortunate for Borg, but wow, what a race and what a debut for Monday Night V8s in the new cars.
Well, we thought it was going to be an entertaining race. Of course, Road America always seems to bring it out, and this was the case for all these drivers. Official classified results are up on your screen. Harley Haber in 19 laps gets the win done in a lights to flag victory for Harley Haber. Second place for James Mackay in Pursuit Sim Racing. Keep an eye on him. He's really improved over the times, as we have just seen a change of times go through for a penalty that has not been served for Wayne Burke. That will be a slow down penalty that was not served on the last lap. Therefore, he will have an increase to his time for quite a fair margin. So James Scott gets third, Jordan Ross fourth, Danny Davison will come home with a top 5. Then it's Chris Coxhead in 6th. Sean Thompson, for all of that, will pick up 7th. Sam Sutton will get 8th place. Zach Hanlin will be granted 9th. And through all of that, Scott Zizlowski, well done. You've got a top 10 through, of course, a technicality, which is, I would say, not the nicest way to pick a top 10.
Oh, I think you take it, though. And plus 15 positions for Chris Coxhead and plus 14 for Scott Zizlowski. So they're our biggest movers in the field. A 40-second penalty coming through for Wayne Burke as well. So it's dropped him from 6th position all the way back to 22nd, with Brad Newman in 11th, with Brady Myers just behind in 12th. Thomas Hinz in 13th, and Matt Morris and Brenton Hobson. Hobson only getting 1 spot in the end tonight. Damien Johnson 16th. Sam Devontier also big mover, plus 12, started last, finished 17th. Glenn Postlethwaite and Jackson Susan Harlow not able to make as many spots back up through the field as they would like, and Greg Sharp rounds out the top 20.
Well, 21st will end up being Brian Borg after his incident on the final lap. Wayne Burke, for all his troubles, he gets caught by the iRacing system, which automatically grants him 40 seconds worth of penalty. That will be a big, big shame for him in that one. Steve Janssen comes home 23rd, and the last driver on the leading lap is Kurt Stenberg, who started 15th for Trans-Tasman, dropping all the way back 24th. 5 drivers find themselves laps down or not finishing. One is Christian Smart, and the other is Kazuki Umashima with a blown engine, Corey Preston, Cooper Webster, and Andrew Gilliam. Early on, 3 drivers from the top 6 finding themselves out of the race early on. But Jay, you have to say that it was some good battling going on in those early stages of the race, and we have to look towards the next weeks. You know that you need good results early, but the good news for drivers like Gilliam, likes of, say, Corey Preston, Kazuki Umashima, Cooper Webster, Jackson Susan Harlow and co., they can pick up more points later down the road because there are 4 drop weeks.
Yeah, exactly right. So making sure you capitalise when you get the opportunity is such a big thing. And we said it on Saturday night with the Porsches. Getting points in big points hauls early on is really key as well. So you need to make sure that you capitalise when you can. When you've got a big opportunity for big points, you take it every time you can. But next week, I think we're going to see an even bigger turnout and even bigger points up for grabs as we go to Bathurst next week. Cannot wait for that.
Well, the home of Australian motorsport, Mount Panorama calls for all of these drivers. This would be the place they would test again and again and again with these style of cars. And you've got to tune in, of course, Monday nights, every single time, same place. Make sure that you join us for this on the iRacing Esports Network, as well as with every other broadcaster that joins us. RaceBot TV, you got the likes of the Global Sim Racing Channel, Apex Racing TV, LSR TV, Podium Esports. Make sure that you check all of them out as well. But from the MIA, Ryan Jones, who joined us to start this broadcast, from Jay Kennedy, who's jumped in on the cameras here, I have been Jake Sperry. Harley Haber is the starlet. He shines on the start of this season, and he knows better than anybody else the best way to start is with victories. He knows that life isn't going to be all plain sailing from here, though. He's got to work hard for every single result for Mark 1. We'll step away from you for this moment, but we'll be back same time, same place, 1 week from now at Mount Panorama Bathurst.
This is fantastic. fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson. Anderson's up top. Oh my God! Big crash. Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get rolled.
Six very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, here we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my God!
God, what?